Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SSL Challenge, week number trace, as I like to say, Valdez.
Yeah.
We just got a chance to watch Bunny put the pain on our defending GSL and VSL finalists. This guy has been so good for so long, but really seems to struggle versus Terran.
The biggest finalist in the world. How many finals has this guy gone to and still hasn't won one?
It's been tough.
He won a Kespa Cup one time, I think, in 2015.
Was that not?
2014, I think he beat
that's
Dark.
Right. Wow, that was so long ago.
But it didn't, you know, that's kind of, it's like a half victory, so
Valdez
definitely
has a memory like an elephant.
The Sioux train not too happy right now.
Now,
but,
seems to have some daisies in the wheels. God, not again. Happens every time, guys. We don't,
He's coming back.
We're waiting
make
for
his way
it, guys. Maybe we'll throw up an overlay so that he can cross. No, he's going to go the other way.
That would be funny if our producer's like on the ball and press a button like, we'll be right back, right when someone's walking across the screen.
So I think he's going to go up the stairs on one side, run across, and then come down the stairs on the other. I don't know. This is the most exciting thing we have to
They're
talk
looking
about.
for
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Yeah! Right in front.
Yeah.
That's that production value. All right, we got another one?
Rogue.
Yeah!
He looks pretty focused.
We actually disguise our camera in camouflage so that nobody knows it's there. We're just speaking in front of nothing. Maybe the camera's up there somehow. I don't know.
What are those people that go to watch comedy shows and they like make fun of the guy who's on stage?
Hecklers.
We're like the hecklers, basically, of
like
all these people that walk across. We're like, Rogue.
We're like
he just like doesn't even look at us. I feel like,
we're the two old guys in the Muppets. We just make fun of StarCraft games. What play wasn't even any good.
Yeah.
That's our future, guys. We're gonna turn 55 years old.
Well, at least Tastosis will hit that before us.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We won't be the oldest SC2 casters.
Yeah, I don't think we're. I don't think we're there. I think I'm
Who is the
close.
oldest SC2 caster?
Probably Artosis.
Maynard? No, Artosis is older than him, right?
Really? I don't know. My
if someone knows,
StarCraft caster fan card that has their blood type and their likes and dislikes on it doesn't say their names.
What about Total Biscuit? I don't know how old he is.
I don't know. Nobody tells us these things. I'll have to go check their bio article somewhere. I'm sure there's a fan site for these guys. But yeah, our next two players, it's going to be a ZVZ, Rogue versus Impact. And last week, Rogue did not look great. He was the first player to lose to Hush. And Impact, not as great a last week either. He got bibbidi bop by Bian, and so we're probably hoping to see a stronger game from him. I know I was checking out the fan votes online. We had lots and lots of Rogue fans. I feel like that's more of historical fans, because at least to me, Impact has been looking decently lately.
Yeah.
Decently decent.
Yeah, he's looking pretty decent for sure. Pretty decent.
Oh my god, I knew you were going to say that. I was cringing ahead of time, and you just walked right into it. It's like watching a train wreck happen, Valdez.
Whenever I just try to make you cringe as much as possible.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Well, at least the map pool looks pretty good here. Ascension Ire, Overgrowth, and Odyssey. Can't wait until we get some in the new round of maps in here, maybe next season. But for this season, these are at least, I think, 3 of the most common.
I haven't cast enough games of Overgrowth. Only about, maybe 500, 600 games.
Almost as many as Frost.
Yeah, those 2 maps I've casted way too many games on.
What was the other map that just was in the map pool forever? Dusk Towers was around for a while?
That was in there for a while.
They were posting on the community update for the next round of maps and talking about how they weren't going to have Frost in there. Beyond slides in there is like, I want Dusk Towers back. Like, yes, we all do.
Yeah.
And then he found memories. That was actually the first game of StarCraft 2 that I got to cast when I moved out here to Korea. It was on Dusk Towers. I think it was with you in Pro League.
Really?
Yeah.
That was your first time casting in Korea?
Well,
for
not
StarCraft
casting
2?
total, but casting StarCraft 2. So, yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Got some memories there. I think the first cast that I did for SC2 was like a 2v2 with Wolf. There was like the pre-Pro League or something, like the pre-match, like the exhibition matches that we had. I think they had a 1v1 first and then the 2v2. I don't remember the map though. It was a while ago. It was beginning of 2014.
That date that everybody knows theoretically exists, but nobody remembers.
No.
I remember.
You remember.
I do. All right, well, we're getting into our second game. I don't know why it took so long to do it last time, but apparently this time it's also taking similarly long. I think that this is so that our trio of Korean casters can make their sick, dank memes.
I think they had so much success in Season 1 that they're like, we're going to give you 5 more minutes of time. We were like, oh, great.
See, I would rather have maybe
I love this
2
idea.
minutes of time here and longer than a minute and a half break in between. I feel like we just go right from one series into the next series and go, it's a lot of StarCraft. But at least this series will be a ZVZ, so a lot of times those can be a little bit shorter games.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe that means we get to our 10-minute break a little bit faster. Gives you guys time to get up and get a snack and maybe run downstairs and back upstairs.
What are you feeling about this match? Do you think Rogue has got a chance?
I actually think Impact's been looking a lot better lately. He didn't look very good last week, but that was, of course, not a mirror matchup. I think Rogue has started his decline a little bit. I don't know. I mean, obviously anything can happen. I just think Impact is maybe a little bit better in that ZVZ matchup, unless you consider probably the most infamous games of ZVZ that Impact has played, and that would be against the Destroyer of Worlds, Jake Umpleby, in the GSL qualifiers, where he lost 2 ZVZs to the most OP strategy in StarCraft 2, and that is the 13-12.
You think someone's going to bring that in tonight?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Rogue has at all studied Impact's weaknesses. You just do that a lot. Although I think one of those games was actually a 16-16. Ooh. So you got to mix it up a little bit, yeah. But I would expect that if we do see a Rogue win, it would be because he plays a very early aggressive style. But that's just not the style that we're used to seeing from Rogue, so I wouldn't expect that. So then maybe the weakness that Impact has will not be exploited, and he'll be able to come out on top. That's my logic.
Well, the first map was Ascension to Ire, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Okay, so a bit of a bigger 2-player map. Maybe that's the one. It is 2-player map, though, so you can kind of get over there still very fast if you want to do some kind of crazy all-in. But then second map, Overgrowth as well, which means that I think it's going to be a quicker series. I wouldn't expect it to get into this crazy long macro ZVZ. We don't really see those kinds of games here even. In SSL Challenge. I mean, you remember last week, which was basically just a meme fest of the craziest builds that you get.
Was the
week
crazy
1 was,
week.
yeah.
And then week 2 continued the trend, right? You guys
and then Premiere, too.
Yeah, you guys, it spilled over into Premiere. You guys got some sick memes over there, too. So, guys, if you're watching the SSL Challenge, you're in the right place to receive your maximum meme quota. Sir 1, Sir 2 in chat. You guys are used to that because we're going to be inhaling all the dankest Korean strategies here tonight, setting up for a ZVZ, which definitely has potential for plenty of those. So we're going to fly better fly into our first game of our second series of the night.
Here we go. Right onto Ascension to Ire. Fly better fly. There we go. And up in the top left, the red Zerg. This is Rogue.
Because we just had to make him red as opposed to the guy that's wearing a red jersey, who we're now making play a blue color. And this is our Zerg play in the bottom right-hand corner, Impact.
In the red chair, in the red jersey.
In the blue color in the game. One job. You guys had one job.
Oh, boy.
All right. Well, the colors might be a little bit confusing, but at least they're on the right side of their maps, respectively. So let's check out what their opening builds are going to be. It looks like it will be a hatch first from both players. So really mirrored, but Rogue a little bit faster. Like at least a second. That's the most interesting thing that's happening right now.
Yeah, so not what we were expecting. No crazy early game all-ins. Not yet. Could go for some kind of
I mean, if you're
Roach
all-in
timing,
at this point, then yeah, that's how you really know you want to crush Impact. But yeah, like I said earlier, we were not going to see early aggression out of Rogue. Maybe we're just going to see that big roach ball fight that we see time and time again in ZVZ. It's like, oh, I have one more roach in my concave. Whoa, I win. But I think it's always cool to see the way that players try to adapt. I saw Gumiho in a ladder match do a Zergling drop in ZVZ. I've just never seen that before.
Gumiho.
In my or not Gumiho, Lenok.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, do a Zergling drop in ZVZ. That's just not a thing that has ever existed. So weird things are out there happening.
When you really need those lings in the main.
Yeah, you just gotta get
when you gotta have it, you just gotta have it.
I mean, to be fair, no one would ever expect that. But also, to be fair, there's a reason nobody would ever expect that. So
it's a very Leenock thing to do.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's for sure. He's like the Zerg Gumiho, always out there trying some shenanigans.
These guys are doing the same build.
Yeah, absolutely mirrored.
So nothing weird in this game just yet. And I mean, I was very satisfied with the first series that we had between Sue and Bunny. I feel like those were really good macro games.
Absolutely.
They went the distance. It was pretty close. You know, some mistakes on both sides, but that usually happens. And now, I mean, it looks like we're getting into a macro game in ZVZ. What has the world come to, Rapid?
These builds are so mirrored, you could ask them who's the fairest of them all, Valdez. Like, this is just actually so cool to watch two players that kind of have each other's numbers identically. Although, now we might see a deviation. I'm only saying that because I really want that. There we go. Where's the Overlord? I love it!
Well, it is a lair and a hatchery coming down for Rogue.
All right, well, we have our first Baneling. Show me Baneling.
Well, the Baneling nest isn't done yet. See if he makes one safety Baneling.
No, drones instead. Aha.
There it is. Okay.
Okay, finally.
Just a little bit behind. Seems like some of those minerals were going into that hatchery.
This is like StarCraft Family Feud. It's like, which were the most common 4 buildings to be building right now? Well, there you go. Although, one deviation is this Roach Warren that Impact's going to be throwing down. So it looks like maybe Rogue will try to skip that, go up to Spire, and then build a bunch of Mutalisks. If he doesn't scout anything too dire coming his way, that's always something that's a little bit risky, because all of a sudden you have like 3 Mutas pop, and there's 12 Roaches in your base, and you're like, oh, well, I just can never kill those. So here comes the lair.
Coming in hot.
Yeah,
that lair.
Man, if you're at Hive Tech right now,
right out the oven, man.
You really just gotta have it. So no, in fact, it is another Roach Warren on Rogue's side. It's just a little bit behind.
It's just Rogue being a little bit safer, perhaps. He gets a much later lair here, but he's still behind on a lot of drones. So he could put on some pressure with this, but already Roaches coming out for Impact. I think he definitely got the better of the 2 builds.
Yeah.
His, as you were saying, more economical. His third base is going to be a little bit behind.
Yeah, so the big difference in the build is the swell of lings that Rogue is sending out across the map. He decided to put a lot of, I guess, resources into being aggressive earlier, at least getting a scout to see what's coming his way. He'll have that information. He will be able to, kill off a couple of drones if he wants to invest those lings there. Instead, he wants to run them around a little bit more. I mean, he's got great information, to be fair. Great scouting there by Rogue, but ultimately that might cost him, because Impact's Roaches are going to be better, more highly upgraded, and there's going to be more of them as they run across the map.
Ooh, the 1 ling for the 1 Baneling trade. But as you were saying, should have a much higher Roach count, and does have the earlier +1.
Those 2 Zerglings just run an entire flock of Zerglings around.
Yeah. This map of Ascension to Ire is definitely pretty big in terms of rush distance from natural to the 3rd base, so Impact, he's not even trying to hit a timing just yet. If he is a little bit late. Perhaps he's waiting for this next swell of Roaches first, and then he will go. But so far, it looks like he's just throwing everything over towards that 3rd base, so if he doesn't hit a timing and Rogue catches up with that earlier 3rd base, maybe he does get a slight advantage. It's still pretty even, though. I don't think you can call it one way just yet.
I mean, you could. You just would probably not be very educated in that assumption. So if Impact had sent his Roaches over a little bit earlier, I think he actually might have either lost or been really pressured there at the 3rd. So he holds back, defends there, and now is pushing out with his Roaches. But I think, like you said, Valdez, the window of opportunity may have passed a little bit.
Yeah, you got to hold that window of opportunity open. Don't let it slam shut.
Yeah, make sure there's not a screen in the window of opportunity that filters out your build.
Yeah.
Not an effective
Definitely
strategy.
Could be painful if you try to go through that window.
Well, now we are going to see the meeting of the minds, or the overminds, as the case may be. Although I think that might have died. I'm not sure about my lore. Either. Oh, yeah, because that's where the broodmothers come in, right? I don't know. Somebody
wrote
something about these things.
You're talking to the wrong guy about lore, so I'll let you handle that. portion of the cast.
All right. Well, we are going to see these big Roach balls. All right. Nice job, one Baneling. Better concave here for Rogue, but higher Roach numbers, it seems, for Impact. Upgrades will have evened out by now. Which side's going to win? I mean, concaves are pretty good, but higher numbers seem better to me, Valdez.
Yeah, and transfuses, the queens, the defensive advantage with the Roaches popping out earlier. At the end of it all, Impact does get a slight advantage, and he does have the +2 coming ahead. Also going for burrow movement.
Yeah, those tunneling claws are going to be coming out for Impact. Now, it's great if... so we used to actually see this a lot more when it was maybe a little bit more pronounced on Roaches. Back in Wings of Liberty, the micro you were supposed to do is build a bunch of Roaches, research burrow, and then pop them up and out like Blink Micro, essentially. Yeah. You're just blinking them underground. I haven't seen a player do that in a long time, so I wish that came back. It looks super cool when you watch a player just, play whack-a-mole with their Roaches, because they do heal ridiculously quickly. If you're ever going up against High Templar and you have a bunch of Roaches, just get burrow. You can burrow under storms and heal through the storm. It's actually insane. But this is not what we're going to see here. A couple of cheeky Banelings.
Secret Service Banelings.
Okay, yeah. Somebody made a speech about those Banelings. They got caught out behind enemy lines. So the Roaches will come across the map for Impact, trying to get damage done to the third, but Rogue's just right on top of it. So very conscientious.
He did hit his +2 timing, and now he has tunneling claws. He doesn't have burrow though, so can't really do much with that. He is going to try to hit 2 places at once. I really do like this. Trying to draw Rogue out of position. They're both getting their fourth bases at the same time.
Really good for Impact, although if this +2 comes up, Rogue might be in a better spot. Corrosive Biles are actually starting to land, but I think Impact is going to go in for damage in the main.
Yeah, Impact splitting up his forces right now, trying to make the most of his +2, and he's winning the fight in the main drastically. At the fourth, he is going to have to back off, but he's totally fine to do that because he saves most of his Roaches. He's getting so much value in the main with that higher Roach count, and finally he does have the burrow on the way, so once that does hit, we could see Impact in a great spot.
Yeah, and I think Impact might have just broken Rogue. He's, like you said, got great trades in the main, and there's so many Ravagers here that as long as you dodge those
Corrosive Biles
actually landed on Rogue's own units. So
he's not microing against it at all.
No, he's not. He's not even moving back. He's actually moving into his own Biles. And he still has Roaches up at the top, just winning that trade over and over again.
Yeah, it looks like Impact in a massive lead here. You can see how he's consistently microing out of those Corrosive Biles, although he almost did just micro into his own. Well, these Roaches are still alive in the main. I don't know what's going on with those.
What's the burrow movement? Rogue is just not reacting to it. Impact able to save a few of those Roaches, burrow them back into the drone line, and be killing drones while Rogue is just desperately trying to hang on.
Yeah, Rogue essentially just not like this right now.
I think it's time, as we are wont to do, to look at the supplies. See about a 70 advantage there. Impact just showing dominance in that ZBZ.
Yeah, kind of a flaky attack by Rogue. Wasn't going to do much at that point in the game. He wasn't really hitting a big timing. He delayed the +1 behind Impacts. Of course, he didn't know the build, but it wasn't like he was trying to rush out the +1 to hit this big timing. But went for the attack anyway. It kind of slightly went Impact's favor, but then he just totally pulled him apart with that, that two-pronged attack.
Two-pronged, then burrowing into the main, just kind of adding insult to injury, or the nail in the coffin, the nail on the head, whatever you want to do with your double-pronged attack. That's double-edged sword would be the bad thing, but then okay, all right, that's what it was, guys. I just have to figure out, there's so many analogies out there, I can't just butcher them all at the same time.
Could be a double-edged sword, I guess, because if you split up too much, right? It's a move in which, it can have lots of positives, but it also could hurt you at the same time.
Nice save,
so there you
Valdez.
go. I salvaged
You did. Wow, he dug me out of that one.
There you go.
I was up a creek without a paddle, but
oh boy.
Then I walked a mile in somebody's shoes in midstream. What?
Yeah. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm expecting Impact to do the same build in game number 2.
The best segues. Here we go, guys. Game number 2. Coming up, this is also going to swap the map away from something quite as big as Ascension and put us here in the upper right-hand corner, better flying into our second game. Our Red Zerg player this time around, this is, or should be, Rogue. There we go.
Log.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's
Rouge.
beloved log up in the top right. And down in the bottom left, his opponent's winning game number 1. Outplaying his opponent, it is Impact.
Yeah, knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish there. Didn't see either player try to get greedy with the maybe skipping on Zerglings or Roaches. Or
you know what he did in that game? He grabbed it by the horns.
That's what
he did.
Both of the prongs of the attack he grabbed.
Yeah, grabbed him by the horns, and he tamed that bull. Let me tell you.
Boy, howdy. Did he ever?
Yeah.
I moved away from Texas to Korea to escape analogies like this, Valdez. I try to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
All right. Got any other dank Texas memes for me, Rapid? Or?
Well, I mean, we're about to watch one night here. Impact is going for the steamroller right now. It's not. I don't know. What do you want me to call it?
Is that what they do?
I'm so distressed.
The tractor. This is what we call this
tractor. All right. Well, this is the saddest drone in the universe right now. Valdez, he is going to be beset by about 6 Zerglings that want nothing but his untimely demise. More popping out there, and the spawning pool has yet to even finish for Rouge. Yeah. So he's going to have to wait a little while before he builds anything that can fight back.
That drone on the scariest escape of his life.
This
we'll
Mission
see if he
Impossible.
gets out.
It's that Tom Cruise drone. He's running away from everything chasing him. Oh, nice glitch through the Zergling because he had clicked on a mineral patch.
Okay, let's see how Impact wants to handle this, because we see sometimes people go for drones, people go directly for the hatchery, people try to block the ramp with banelings. Seems like Impact is going to just go straight for the hatchery.
Yeah, now there's a couple of different schools of thought on this, Valdez. Do you cancel the hatchery? Probably not, because you want the larva. That's really what's going to help you out in defending here. But you also probably want to give the Zerglings of your opponent time to do something. So a lot of times Zerg players who are going for this rush run right into the main and try to make that their victory. And Baneling hits coming in. Nice splitting there on the Zerglings. Needs to turn one of those Banelings around and try to get a good trade there. One will fall there, looking for a good hit on the second one. Actually looked good.
Yeah, it does get a pretty good hit, but you can see what Rouge's doing. He's committing heavily to the hold. He is not giving up his fortress. This is Braveheart right now for Rouge. He makes double spine crawler and says, you're not going to kill me. I'm staying alive. I will spend my 2 drones, I will spend the extra minerals, and make sure that I hold my hatchery. And Impact, he still hasn't gone for his own hatchery. I think Rouge is going to hold this one.
Oh, absolutely. Especially unburrowing that second spine crawler. That can be risky business, Valdez, if you do get caught with it unburrowed or out off creep. But 2 spine crawlers out the front, and there's nothing Impact can do to get through that.
Yeah, so he's kind of just going to meekly take his own hatchery a little bit later and say, okay, you win this time, Rouge. Let me try to play from behind, but definitely not the position that Impact wanted to be in.
Nope. Impact wants to be out of there right now. That's the position Impact wanted to be in. Tried to get a cheeky rush off, but Rouge right in time to scout it with that drone, and now he's going to have fewer Zerglings and a later hatchery. This might just kill him with Rouge running superior numbers of Zerglings across the map, but it doesn't look like he's going to commit to building any more for the follow-up, choosing instead to drone up behind this.
Yeah, I like what Rouge is doing here. He's going to have more than enough defense with the queens, the spine crawlers. The lings are going to slip by. And they do get 2 drones, which is definitely worth it here for Impact.
Yeah, trading off Zerglings. More importantly, though, for Impact, he forces Rouge to pull back and not attack him. And a lot of times for a Zerg, it feels like they attack just to keep pressure off themselves. Because as the Zerg gets later and later, the more you inject, the more maybe you go for a macro hatch. You're just going to have tons of stuff to replace your army with. So, good hold once again by Rouge there. He only loses, like you said, a couple of Zerglings. But somewhat remarkably, the worker count is pretty even.
Yeah, Impact, he's trying to go for this kind of 2-base lair play. We'll see if it does work out. He does catch up in the drones, as you were talking about.
Ooh. Those queens are off duty right there.
They gave up. They say, hey, you let us downlings. We'll let your brother, the Baneling, deal with this one.
That's not how Banelings are supposed to be used, but this is pretty interesting. So we're going to see Impact skip Roaches and go right up to Aspire. While on the other side, Rouge is not going to do that. He's going to go for a huge swell of Roaches and get Zergling speed. So this is a bold move by Impact, but I think it's what he's trying to do to get himself back in the game.
It's the gamble. It's like the the counter all in. I don't know what to call it. It's when you're extremely behind, you take a risk and you hope it pays off, because he's trying to hold right now with spines with like one Baneling, hoping that Rogue doesn't attack him. But as you were talking about, Rogue has this big counterattack coming up, even with the spine crawlers walking across.
All right, he is going to go for bringing the spines in. Actually forces cancels with Zerglings running by him.
That's really big.
This is just really not spelling anything, any good word here. If anything, this is spelling the word B-A-D, Valdez, because he's not even have time to get these spines up. Instant cancels on everything. Rogue brings it back with a nice hold off of an economic opening, and the Roach follow-up to win the game.
Yeah, good scout by Rogue on the small map of Overgrowth. He says, okay, I can scout out any kind of cheese. If he is going for that, I can hold it off by playing extremely defensively and then just transition. And in fact, he just got totally held. I mean, it wasn't even close. The two spine crawlers, I'm not even sure if he needed the two spine crawlers, but that's how dedicated Rogue was to holding that off. And we got another series here. It's actually going to go to game number 3.
It could go all the way.
What if we had 13 games tonight?
That would be a very long night. We're going to get out of here at like 2 a.m.
It's already pretty late.
That's an awfully precise number, Valdez. How did you come up with that?
You're just like, what the hell? I guess we would have 13 games then. Yes, I don't know what to tell you.
That would be an awfully large number of games to have out of 4 best-of-3s. How you get there, I don't know. But stranger things have happened, Valdez. Maybe we have a regame. There you go. All right, well, it's game number 3 of Rogue versus Impact coming out. Rogue better at playing that defensive style, but I think Impact might not go quite so aggressive. Okay. All right, here we go. We'll wait to see what transpires here. Our red Zerg player spawning the upper left-hand corner. That's Rogue.
And his opponent down in the bottom right, it is Impact, trying to go very aggressive. In game number 2, did not pay off at all.
And instead, this time around, we are going to see Rogue put the shoe on the other foot before he walks 1,000 miles in it. To wind up right out your door. That's where he's going.
I get it. I see.
Indeed. All right, instead... Wow, this is really just going to be a complete mirror of game number 2. But like I said, with the roles reversed, Rogue going to be going for the hyper-aggressive early opening, and Impact going for a hatch first. So, yikes, Valdez. This is my one time I get to use that word during this cast.
Yeah, you have a certain amount allotted to you.
That's true.
We've said it's 1, so...
Yeah, I used it there. I feel like it's appropriate. This is not going to look good for Impact. However, he should be... aware, as he is, or no, he's actually not drone scouting. Okay, I actually thought he had gotten a drone out. Nope. So that was the real victory for Rogue there. It came from drone scouting, not something you see a lot in ZVZ. Usually it's just Overlords. He did drone scout and perfectly timed, caught the Zerglings on the way to his base, had the spine crawlers up and the Zerglings in time to defend. Impact has none of that.
And Rogue is pooling. He says, okay, you don't want to scout me? Well, I got a big surprise coming in just a second for you, buddy. Because this is going to be a lot of lings right in the front.
He should also know Overlord placements here. So if he just wants to go for the fastest path, then he can just run straight and he knows he'll hit Overlords. But he should know exactly where those Overlords are and know how to run around them. And that's exactly what he's doing.
He's going to go all the way around.
This is one of the most impressive things about this. If you guys play a lot of StarCraft at maybe like a gold or silver level, it's easy to kind of forget about this, to think to yourself, okay, well, I'm just going to put my stuff places, and if it finds another unit, it finds it, that's great. But if you're good enough, if you play this game enough at this impossibly high level, you know where most of your opponent's units are going to be. Wow! What a sneak by Rogue with the secret agent Zerglings, now running all the way up into the main. No, it's actually going to surround the Queen. He's going to pick that off at the natural and then proceed to run everywhere he wants to. Rogue is going to just bop Impact so hard. Impact
he's not turning around. He's sending all of his lings across the map. He's saying, okay, I'm going to try to defend here with a late Baneling nest, but this is way too many lings at this point. I think Rogue has just duped him.
Yeah. Impact's just dead. Impact is the deadest nerd right now. He has that's not how counterattacks work, Impact. He's got a couple of Banelings trying to morph back at home. Those are never going to finish. He's just going to lose everything here.
Spike Crawler finishes. He'll make his small debut. saying, hey, here I am. Oh, there I go.
Oh my god. Rogue is just so sick. I also want to give a quick shout out to serendipitous timing. Oh wow, could have actually killed off the queen. Okay, he will go back in. There it is, GG. Wow. Oh my god, Rogue is good.
You can see the relief on his face. I mean, this guy was 0-2 before coming into these games. It wasn't the Rogue that we loved, that we knew and loved, and now he comes in here and he finally redeems himself by winning a close 2-1 there against Impact. It was a nice build at the end, and he definitely did hold off game 2 pretty well, so maybe not as close as I had originally said, but at least he does take the win, which is good.
I will take that series just for the last game. I mean, that was just so masterful by Rogue to know exactly where his opponent's units would be. Not just the Overlords, which are pretty slow and have very kind of standard scouting positions, but then to hold his Zerglings up right above Impact's base and wait for Impact to send out his firstlings. I just don't know, man. That's just something that illustrates such a high level of play in specifically this matchup. So congratulations to Impact for doing so well early on. I'm trying to make it sound good for both players.
Okay.
We had to give an honorable mention.
I was like, wait, it was Rogue that won.
But better and more adulation there to Rogue for ultimately being able to close out the series. So we're going to close out things and head to a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we'll have our third matchup of the night. So don't go anywhere.